Happy May the 4th. Here at Bear Cavalry, we like to keep ourselves open to any inspirations that come our way. And this Star Wars Day, I've caught a need for an awesome lightsaber effect. I'm going to show off how I achieved a glowing hot blade for the Star Wars Shatterpoint model of Luke Skywalker, and also how to do some object source lighting to really sell the effect. My name is Van, you're watching Bear Cavalry Paints, let's get cooking. I've gone ahead and painted the rest of the model off camera, just so that I can get an idea for how bright I want to go with this finishing touch. I'm going to use these brushes for this, going from a size 3 to a 0. The paints I'm using are a saturated green, Green Hell, our desaturated light blue-green, Nuclear Sludge, our ice yellow, Pale Rider, and our white, White Room. Getting started, I want to make sure to have a fully opaque white base coat. While our paints do have phenomenal coverage, I still want to establish that the blade will be the brightest part of the model. After that, I water down our green and glaze that over the length of the blade. I'll slowly start introducing our nuclear sludge into this glaze, thickening it slightly and brightening the blade along 2 rays on opposite sides of the model. These are eventually going to be the brightest parts of the blade and where I'll focus the majority of my time. Taking a mix of the Pale Rider and white, I add a thin line along those 2 rays, punching up the values while the green mix is still wet. I add another glaze of Green Hell, both to smooth the transitions a bit and keep the paint wet on the model. Take almost pure nuclear sludge and blend it over the ray of highlight, letting it mix with the green glaze to blend into the darker section. I then start introducing the Pale Rider into the blend, brightening things up and tightening the bright spot further. I'll repeat this a few times until I'm happy with the values. You'll see that I repeat a lot of these steps multiple times. Since I'm working fairly diluted, this gives me a lot of control over the placement and degree of blending over the blade. Even with these repeated steps, it doesn't take terribly long to achieve a really striking result. now to really kick things up a notch. For the OSL, I'm thinking about how light would emanate from the blade in a straight line. It leaves in all directions, getting weaker as it goes. The paint job should reflect this, both in value and in saturation. I'm going to start with our last mix of Pale Rider and Nuclear Sludge, thinning it down and checking again what areas I want to show off a lot of this glow. I go back and add a little more paint to it, but check it on my thumb before applying it to the model. I work this over the arm, hand, and face, being sure to go slowly. Next, I make a fresher glaze of green hell and add some of our nuclear sludge to it. This gets applied to the outer edges of the glow effect with a feathering technique. Once again, I go back and forth with these colors, checking the opacity on my thumb. Within a few glazes, Luke Skywalker's blade looks intense enough to duke it out with the galaxy's greatest threats. I want to say a huge thank you to everybody who's shown us support over these last few months. Our launch at Adepticon was more fortuitous and a greater windfall than we ever could have anticipated. You all have made this exciting new prospect for us more achievable than we ever could have imagined on a way faster timeline. My name is Van, this has been Bear Cavalry Paints, and we can't wait to see what you cook up with us next time.